What's up, everybody? This is Steve Carty. Welcome to the Strength Squad podcast. No Nick Scopoleti today, just me. We are doing a episode rewind for you guys today. So we're going to replay our interview with Mark Bell from a couple months ago. Actually, that's coming up on a year now. Almost about a year ago with Mark Bell. One of our most popular episodes, one of our most downloaded episodes, and one of our personal favorite episodes. And this week, Nick and I's schedules didn't really match up, so we didn't have another episode for you guys. So, facts are facts. That's just the reality. So, this week we're throwing it back. We're going episode rewind. So, sit back and enjoy this rewind with Mark Bell.
Want more of the Strength Squad? You can check out all of our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Also, check us out on YouTube, where you can watch all of your favorite Strength Squad videos. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on iTunes and Stitcher.
Stitcher? I just met her.
Today, our guest, the mighty Mark Bell. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing fucking awesome.
Yeah.
A long day. I had to actually see today if my elbow was fucked, and it is. Turns out I'm having a baby boy out of my left elbow. As you can see here, you can see the swelling in that guy. It's kind of fat and heavy.
What'd they say was going on?
They said they basically they had to give me the bad news that I'm off the team is what they told me, and I've never had to experience that before like that. No, basically there's kind of a lot of different things going on with the elbow, and at first they said they could shave down the bone because I have a giant bone spur at the end of the elbow that kind of looks a little bit like a shape of like a hook. Okay. And that hook is catching on the elbow a little bit. There's not enough space in there for the elbow to move as fluidly as it should. And then there's also some scar tissue. And along with that, there's also just some floating debris of whatever the fuck is in there. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought they were going to find a peanut butter cup. And they didn't find that. So, I mean, basically, they didn't have a solution to what I could do to make it better. They did shoot me with a cortisone shot, and they think that that's going to help a little bit. But I still have a lot of swelling in the elbow, and so that part of it's kind of frustrating. They didn't want to drain it because they said that the area of the elbow, you got all those little nodules on there, those little weird dry spots, and they said you can get an infection. So I guess if the pain continues, over the next several months, then maybe I'll look into getting some surgery. One doctor thought surgery was the answer, and the other one didn't. So,
interesting.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
What are you thinking? What are you feeling like doing with the elbow? Would you go into surgery or nah?
My elbow doesn't hurt on a regular basis. So, because it doesn't hurt on a regular basis, that would be something I'd have to make a decision on. It just would depend on what kind of surgery. My fear about surgery is that when they get in there, that they're going to see other stuff that they couldn't see with an MRI, and they couldn't see with what they did today, and they couldn't see through an X-ray and so on. And then they would want to do more work, and that's kind of the fears. They go in there and cause some sort of permanent damage, and I can't do what I love doing. So The main thing for me is I have been bench pressing over 500 pounds since I was about 25 years old, and I'd like to still be able to do that. The goal initially, the first time I ever did 500 pounds, I started thinking man, it'd be really cool to be able to do this for the next 10 years. Once I got to those 10 years, I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to do this until I'm 50. And to be able to push those kind of weights until I'm 50, and I'm 40. So I got to figure it out. I'd like to get back to that. And even if I can't get back to those big weights, if I could just get back to, having strength training still be an important part of my life, that would be good enough. So whether that means I need surgery or not really sure.
All right. So for our audience, for people that may not know who you are, tell us who you are. How'd you get started?
I'm Mark Bell. I'm a power lifter. Started powerlifting when I was 12 years old. Strength training has been a passion for me for a very long time, and it became part of my identity in a lot of ways. I played football. I did track. I boxed. I actually boxed with Kevin Rooney, Mike Tyson's former trainer in Catskills, New York. I've done some jiu-jitsu at the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy when I lived in Los Angeles. I've kind of been all over and done all kinds of different things. But really who I am as a person is I'm a lot similar to a lot of you guys out there. I'm just trying to find happiness. I'm just trying to be happy. I'm trying to have fun with things. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I have a brother. I got a lot of people that are close to me that really care about me. I care about them deeply as well. And so my mission to make the world a better place to lift has to start with loving the people that are around me and the people that surround me and the people that care about me. And so that's really where the message starts and where the message ends. And if I can't be complete and if I can't love the people that are around me and can't enhance their lives, then I can't enhance your life or anybody else's, because I won't be able to make these videos, won't be able to have a free gym, won't be able to do free seminars. So it's kind of all about having my shit together and not having anything to hide. I take this phone right here with me everywhere, and I've built the business, my business, Slingshot, Power Magazine, Super Training Gym. I've built it all off of the phone. We all have access to many of the same things, but I could turn this phone over, and with the exception of a couple weird videos from Pornhub, you're not going to find anything on here that I have to hide. You're not going to find some weird text message from a chick showing her ass or something to me, because that's not the way I live my life. I'm married, and I made a commitment there, and I try to stay as true to that as I possibly can, and also try to be loyal and faithful to those people around me, and try to be as transparent as I can. Again, if I have the train that I'm leading has too many freight cars behind it for me to get derailed, and we got too much momentum, and so I can't have anything slowing me down or fucking me up. So it's little things like I can't afford to drink. I can't afford to get hooked on painkillers, shit like that, because there's so many people that are counting on me and relying on me to do some of these things. And also it disrupts the goals. It disrupts the flow of what I'm trying to do. The goal, again, is to make the world a better place to lift. And if my shit isn't together, then a lot of that's going to fall apart.
Right. That's a great point that you make. Yeah, and you definitely seem like you got it together. We see little videos here and there with you and Andy, and you guys just seem like that's your, like you said, it's a united front. You guys handle your business, and she helped you grow it, and we'll eventually get into that a little bit later on in the podcast. But first, I kind of want to start with the very beginning. Take us to why you started lifting. We know a little bit of your story from Bigger, Stronger, Faster, but take us through why you started lifting, how far back, what got you into the strength world.
Yeah, it starts with one name, and the guy's name is Joe Garlop, and he's an asshole. And he my New York Jets football, my favorite football, fucking punted it into the woods to where it can never be found again. I loved being outside. I loved to sweat. I loved to run around. It's how I got the nickname Smelly. I hated to take showers, but I loved to play, and I loved to get dirty, and I loved to get sweaty. So my brothers were like, "You stink. You're stinky. You're smelly." And once they realized that nickname hurt me, then hurt my feelings. Once they realized that nickname hurt my feelings, and the nickname stuck. I didn't like that feeling of having the football. Like, he didn't like rip it out of my hands or anything, but I'm playing with the football. I'm throwing it up to myself. I was always playing by myself as a kid. 2 older brothers, but they didn't want anything to do with me because my oldest brother, Mike, he was about 6-7 years older than me. And my brother, Chris, about 4 years. So they didn't want to hang out with their little stinky brother. Throwing the football up in the air to myself over and over again, and catching it and flipping it around and like running after it and all these different things. And this guy says, "Hey, throw me the football." And so I throw him. I knew better because another guy's an asshole. I know his family, and he's probably in jail right now.
Perfect.
Back in Dutchess County, New York. But anyway, I knew better, and it was like something out of a movie. I throw him the football, and he just turns and just fucking kicks it into the woods as hard as he can. And then for whatever reason, I couldn't find it. But he was a much older kid. He was a much bigger kid. To kind of paint the picture for you, he had kind of a mullet going. He'd kind of like
perfect
wavy curly hair and the like trucker cap on. He was always kind of like dirty, like physically dirty. I don't know why he was just dirty all the time, but he just kind of was. He looked like he worked on cars a lot or something. Into metal music, tight acid wash jeans, the big brush in the back pocket, like not a comb, but like a big ass brush in his back pocket, which who knows how he could stuff it back there with how tight his jeans were. And the old school like Reeboks with the tongue popping out, just a ridiculous look, and a tank top. And he had some muscle on him. At the time, I always used to think he was huge, but looking back at it, he was probably only like 175, 180 pounds, but he was developed because he was older and he lifted. So that day was kind of a turning point, hit up the Rocky music and hit a Rocky montage of me going into my basement and smashing on some curls and some tricep push downs and all that kind of stuff, because we had a bunch of equipment in my garage. My brother Chris got started lifting because he had 2 bad knees as a kid, and so he had knee surgeries. The guy that he went to for rehab and recovery said, your only hope out of this, your only hope out of pain the rest of your life is to strength train, is to power lift. And then this guy that we went to happened to be a power lifter, this chiropractor that we went to. God, I'm having a hard time remembering his first name, but his last name was Starace, and Dr. Starace was a big part. I think he was in Fishkill, New York at the time, and he's somebody that was motivational to us because he was jacked as hell, and he was telling my brother that he needs to power lift. My dad bought him some equipment, so after that ball got kicked in the woods, I got more into lifting, even though my 2 asshole brothers were already trying to get me into lifting at that point, but I was being a pussy. I didn't want to do it. And then once this thing went down with the ball getting kicked in the woods, I'm like, that kind of shit's never happening to me again.
Right.
I need to be able to handle myself, and I need to be able to defend myself. And so the weight training started right around that time. I lied to get in the first powerlifting meet that I ever did because I was a little bit too young. They didn't have the same age categories they have now. And kind of off to the races ever since. I started competing at a very young age, and it just sort of took off from there.
Awesome, man. That's a great story. I'm picturing this dude that's the greatest description of someone ever. Was his name Joe Dirt by chance?
Pretty much Joe Garlop. He rode up on his fucking BMX bike.
Oh my God.
Probably 17 years old too. It's like, dude, where's your fucking car? When you drive,
he probably got too many DUIs already by the age of 16.
Yes. Exactly.
That's unbelievable. So you started training, right? Started lifting. What was training like for you? You said you was a powerlifting gym, but if you could take us through kind of what was it like? Were you just going straight up bodybuilder style, like out of Flex magazine, or were you doing heavy doubles, triples, stuff like that?
So I did a bunch of different stuff in my powerlifting career. I shifted around a bunch of different ways and did a bunch of different things. First few programs I started were from this doctor, and he kind of led us down the path of kind of old school periodization. And so we were doing 5 sets of 5 and 4 sets of 3 and 3 sets of 3 and a lot of different types of workouts like that. So powerlifting was executed right away. And it all started in my basement, and then eventually moved into doing some stuff at some powerlifting gyms, where I really started to learn more, because then not only did I have some programming, but I also had some coaching. And there's a lot of good things going on with the internet right now, social media, for example. And there's the market has been flooded by coaches, and it's cool that coaches have opportunities to make money. But I think what people need to be cautious of, consumers and coaches, is there's a big difference between giving somebody a program and having the ability to coach them. So what I would like to see from more people is, not that I'm not saying that people don't care about the programming that they put out, but I'm saying I'd like to see them put even more time into it and figure out a way to offer not only programming, but maybe in addition to that, some coaching as well, because I just think it's really important. If I tell you to do 5s to 5, but I never see you do it, never see you execute it, we don't have a lot of follow-up conversations about that, then it's perfectly possible that you are not executing the 5s to 5 the way that you should be. So anyway, so I got started doing a lot of powerlifting type stuff. And when I went into a powerlifting gym, that's when I started getting actual powerlifting coaching. And I remember, I'd do a bench press and I'd squirm all around and move all over the place. And the guy would say, "Fuck, dude, what was that?" And I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to bench, And he would take the weight off the side. And I was like, this guy's 30 years old or whatever and really jacked. And I'm like, well, I ain't fucking with him. And then so I went to put the weight back on, and I went to bench, and kind of over and over again he would do similar stuff when my brothers weren't there, because my brothers would have beat the hell out of the guy. But the guy, so I basically just told the guy, I said, you know what, I think it's pretty clear that I don't know what I'm doing, I guess. And he goes, that's what I was hoping you were going to say. He's like, want me to show you how to bench? And I said, sure. And so he started to kind of walk me through it, and he started to show me powerlifting the way that it's supposed to be done and the way that it's supposed to be executed. He said, when you go to a powerlifting meet, here's the rules. Your feet have to be this way. This has to be that way. And you can't go up and down with the weight. You can't lock out unevenly. And I'm just thinking, man, I'm just trying to lift heavy, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
And my butt's coming off the bench, and so he's telling me about all these rules, and he's saying, you got to pause the weight and stuff. I'm like, that makes you use less weight. I want to use as much weight as I can. So anyway, after seeing him all the time, and after having the guy take the weight off all the time and getting some good coaching, I started to learn the exact correct way of how to execute these movements. And early stages, I really, really sucked bad at squats, was okay at deadlifting, and was just, for whatever reason, always pretty good on the bench. I recall, times of lifting in my garage with my friends, and they were doing the bar. They were doing 65 pounds, 85 pounds. Maybe somebody was doing a plate on each side, but I was very easily handling 205.
Wow.
At a really young age, I remember
at this point. How old are you?
I don't know exactly. I did bench 405 before I got out of high school.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I deadlifted 635, weighing 198 at a pretty young age. From an athletic standpoint and a strength standpoint, I had a lot of good things going for me. I ran a 4.540 in college when I went to Santa Monica City College, and I did 225 for 40 reps. I could move. I could actually still run. It was actually kind of funny, but I could still run pretty well. I don't think I'd be I wouldn't blow anybody's mind with how fast I am, but people would be surprised that I'm
how big you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fast, period. And anyway, those are kind of the beginning stages of the lifting career. Shout out to Mid-Hudson Bodybuilding in Poughkeepsie, New York. Just an old, beat up, disgusting gym that had that smell that every disgusting gym somehow has. Has that funk where you're just like, what? What is that? Like a boxing gym type thing. You're just like, man, what is that? How come that odor, no matter what happens here, can never go away? A lot of iron, a lot of just plates, a lot of barbells. They had machines and stuff too, but not a ton.
All right. That's awesome, man. So after that, so you went. I didn't know you ran a 4.540. By the way, that is something I did not know. That's very impressive, man. So after that, what led you? So you're at Santa Monica City College. You're doing your training. You're doing powerlifting. I know you eventually ended up at Westside. So
Westside.
What led you there? Like, how did you hear about Westside? Like, was it the tapes type of deal, or like what led you to that route?
Yeah, so maybe at like around 19 years old or something like that, I started to realize with my training I just didn't know what I was doing, and I started looking further into other resources. I started reading stuff, and this is way early on. I started reading stuff from Charles Poliquin. I started reading stuff from Louis Simmons, Dave Tate, website back in the day called deepsquatter.com before Dave Tate ever got his website going, which is elitefts.com. Different forums on when the internet started to come around, but in many different spots as I could. It started with Powerlifting USA, which I always like to pay homage to because part of the motivating factor that led me to start Power Magazine was Powerlifting USA, which isn't around any longer. But the articles in there that were written by Louis Simmons had me really intrigued, and he was talking about max effort movements and dynamic effort movements. And what I really liked about it is that he broke strength training down to a science, and then also just broke it down in its simplest form. And Dave Tate is actually the one I would credit with this, because Louis's mind operates on just a different level than most people, and so he can be hard to understand because he understands it perfectly, but
right.
When he starts talking about force production and stuff like that, he loses a lot of people. He talks very fast.
Yeah, he does, for sure.
But Dave Tate simplified it like this, and I think this is a good thing to point out here on this podcast today is, let's say that you like football. Let's say that you like soccer. Let's say that you like just any sport. You think of boxing. Any of these sports, we can have a room full of people, room full of 20 people, agree what exercises would be the most effective. And let's just say we're going to narrow it down to 5, right? So within those 5 exercises, there's going to be some exercises that people agree with and some that they don't agree with. But in basic terms, there's going to be 5 exercises that people are going to say, okay, yeah, those are all good for strength. Maybe it'd be a clean and jerk. Maybe it'd be a bench. Maybe it'd be a squat. Maybe it'd be a deadlift. Maybe it'd be an overhead press or some variation of those movements. Now, if we can all get some people to agree upon some movements, then we should all be able to get people to agree on, hey, well, it really make a lot of sense if we took those 5 movements that we all just discussed would be great for a lot of these different sports. If we just took those exercises and worked on trying to make those exercises better. So, for example, if you're trying to increase your bench press, would increasing the size of your biceps help? Of course it would. Would increasing the size of your lats help? Of course it would. Would increasing your lockout strength and working on close grip bench press help? Right? So all of these different things, when you talk about, okay, I'm going to squat, and then when you're done doing a squat, you're going to work on all the exercises that help you with a squat and so on. And so that kind of stuff really opened my eyes to, how training is supposed to be done. And the Westside stuff really intrigued me at a young age. And then by the age of about 25 or so is when I actually went to Westside and started training there. I lived with my wife in California. I think we were in Los Angeles at the time. We moved to Columbus, Ohio. I trained at Westside for about a year and had a really good time training there. I had a really good time learning from Louis Simmons, who in a lot of ways is a mentor of mine. Learned a lot of valuable lessons about training. Learned a lot of valuable lessons about life. But it was a wild time training there. That's one of the most intense environments that you'll ever see.
Yeah, what was that experience like? Like, give us like a max effort day in the gym. What was that intensity like, if you had to explain it? So
first day that I trained at Westside Barbell looks like this. It's probably about 30 degrees outside, snowing. Snow sticking to the ground. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and roll up to this place, and I'm like, "Fuck, man, this is day one." The door of the building is purple, and it's next to a pizza / donut shop. How fitting,
Perfect.
Powerlifting.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and just kind of in this just shitty, dilapidated strip mall type thing, right? Looks like crap. I take a deep breath. I'm like, all right, well, you're here. Louis knows you're here. You got to just work up the courage, go inside. So I go inside, and music's just blasting, like AC/DC or whatever it was on at the time. And right when I walk in, there's not a whole lot of room to walk in because there's this giant fat guy at the door named Tilt. Big, fat, black kid named Tilt. Tilt was called Tilt because he was born like with a bum leg or whatever, and so his leg stuck out weird one way, and so he'd walk on a slant. He's probably like 450 pounds. I know, it's ridiculous.
This is great, man.
The stories are ridiculous.
For real.
Yeah, Tilt was a big boy, and Tilt was crazy, crazy strong. He did a good morning at one point with like 1,000 pounds.
Come on.
And yeah, I know. He was insane.
Fuck.
He was very young. But anyway, he's over by the lat pull down machine, which is the first thing that you see when you walked into the old Westside Barbell gym. And then he sits down, on the equipment to rest. And again, this is my first day in the gym, my first time really seeing the gym, especially operating like this with all these monsters in there. He sits down on the bench, and when he sits down, a Snickers bar falls out of his pocket. As funny as that is, it's pretty amazing on a bunch of different levels. But the funniest part about it is, remember, I just said it was like 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
So he's got his Snickers bar all ready to go, and I don't know why he's got it in his pocket because that shit's gonna melt big time, especially with a big guy like that.
Breakfast of champions, man. Breakfast of champions.
Yeah, and then so I walked towards the back of the gym a little bit. Right in the front of the gym is where the benches were, and there was a few monoliths there as well. And so I'm trying to sneak around and not be in anybody's way a little bit, and watching some different guys come in with McDonald's and some coffee and whatever else they got.
Nice.
Guys are wearing big, Carhartt jackets and Timberland boots and shit like that, and some of these guys are working out in jeans because it's just so cold. Like it sounds like the worst thing ever to work out in jeans, but not when it's that cold. It's actually kind of smart. And so Louis comes in, and Louis says, "Oh, you're going to work out over here with us." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So the workout starts. We do a pin pull for the day where you're deadlifting out of the rack, partial range of motion movement, and there's hundreds on the side. And I didn't get a chance to warm up, but he said you're lifting over here, and so I was like, okay, I'll hop in on that, I guess. And so I'm trying to think, I'm trying to look around. I was gonna warm up and do some stuff, and he's like, "It's your turn." And I was thinking, fuck, I didn't warm up, but I'm not gonna say anything. So he says, "It's your turn. The weakest person goes first, and then we go from there." I was like, okay, that feels great. So I get under the bar and I go, and it's, already 235 pounds because hundreds are on there. Then we do the next set. They throw more hundreds on there. And so now we're up at, 425 or so, right?
Yeah.
And so he wanted me to do sets of 3. So I do a set of 3. And then they go to throw on, I think they threw on even another 100 on top of that. And now we're looking at 645 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm supposed to pull it for 3. I pull it for 1 and nearly die, and then put the weight back down. That my best deadlift I ever done at that point was 635 pounds. So that was pretty good considering I've never even tried a pin pull before and stuff like that. So, but Louis just looks at me and he goes like that. You can see my hand. He points at me like this, and then he goes, meaning get out of the way, kid. So he just kicks me off, and I go on to do lat pull downs, face pulls, stiff leg deadlifts, bent over rows, because I'm excited, so I'm banging out all these exercises.
Right.
I go outside and pull the sled in the snow, which was funny. And I come back in, and there's Chuck Vogelpool still lifting.
Oof.
Chuck Vogelpool, John Stafford, J.L. Holdsworth, Dave Tate, just a bunch of monsters, just still sitting there lifting. Like they were still working up in weight, and they have 800 something pounds on there, because they started putting 45s after they put some of those hundreds on there, and they kept working up and working up and working up, and there I am, 60 minutes later, having completed all those exercises. I'm just watching these monsters go, and I'm like, fuck, man, they still like barely just got started, and so, and once you kind of realize that's the way that gym's always going to go, and that's the way it's always going to be, it makes it really hard to stay there for any sort of period of time. It's a fun place to visit, but when you're there, you're almost in like a living hell in some way.
How long were you there for?
I was there for about a year. Yeah.
Okay. A year. So let's go numbers. What were your numbers when you started, and then your numbers when you left? What did you eventually get up to?
I don't really remember 100%. I do know that I did a 515 floor press while I was there. And then like deadlift wise and squat wise, it was a little bit weird because at that point I didn't really do much geared powerlifting. And so I got a pair of single ply briefs and started doing box squats and some deadlifts. And I pulled a 685 deadlift in a pair of briefs, and then in a suit pulled a 705 deadlift in their gym, and then did like a 660 something squat or whatever, that 635 or 645, depending on, I think it was about a 645 because it was 6 plates at 25 and then the extra bar weight or whatever. But that was going from being raw to being geared, and so there was kind of a big change there. But I definitely got a lot stronger, that's for sure.
Yeah. Would you say the gear helped you a little bit and helped with your raw lifting after you went back to raw?
No, because there's way too many factors involved in that. For me, gained weight, lost weight. There's way too many factors to really know if that did anything. Although I do think that raw lifters of today should experiment with lifting in some powerlifting gear, because I think the overload isn't necessarily going to make you stronger, but the gear is going to help you stay healthier for a longer period of time. And so strength training is about duration. The kid recently, Callum, or I'm not sure how to say his name, he recently pulled 881 at 198 pounds. I think he's only 21 years old. What's going to be the factor that lets that kid deadlift the all-time American record of he'd have to go over 915 pounds? Yeah. What would be, the main factor there would be him being healthy, and so, and you could see in his Instagram videos now when you check him out, that's a big struggle, is to figure out how to stay healthy, because he'll have a few weeks in a row that are really good and he's just smashing some weights. I think he did like a 906 or 905 pull in training, and then a week or two later he's kind of banged up again. And so the management of that, look at Pete Rubish, how many times he's been hurt. He smartened up and he trains a lot differently now, and so he's gaining strength at a lot better rate. But I do think that some geared powerlifting would make a lot of sense for even the raw lifter.
I've seen that in one of our guests, one of my close buddies. He's a raw powerlifter, and now he's switching over to gear a little bit. He had something going on with his hip. He was on 531 for a while and just hammering himself, little progressions. He made great, 200 pounds to his deadlift, did great, but It's getting to a point now, he's my age, he's 28. So it's he wants to keep doing this forever. So What's the alternative, So let's get into your competitive career. What are your best numbers? I know you have an 8-something bench, some crazy wild numbers when you were geared. Take us through that.
766 deadlift, an 854-pound bench in multi-ply gear, an 832-pound bench in single-ply gear, and a 578-pound raw bench. In the squat, 1,080 is my best. In multi-ply gear, I did in single-ply gear, I squatted 881. In single-ply gear, it's walked out, knee wraps, that type of deal. In the bench, I've always been gifted in the bench, always been strong in the bench pretty much from kind of out of the gate, and it just always remained that way. The way I was able to kick everybody's ass in the bench press when it came to geared bench pressing was that I fucking lived in that shirt. You can go back and watch some of those old videos of me benching, and I wouldn't give up no matter what. I lived in that, and that was, I kind of wish my prime would have hit a little bit, matched up a little bit better with raw lifting. But it's just worked out the way that it worked out. I mean, I wouldn't be the best anyway, but I would have had a lot of fun, and it would be fun to, like, even right now with a lot of the new guys in the gym, they don't really get to experience that same intensity I had in the beginning. My life has changed. My life is, there's no other way to put it. It's just how many Rockies has Sylvester Stallone written? Yeah. You only write one. How many Get Rich or Die Trying has 50 Cent written, Eminem and so on. I mean, look, you pour a lot into your first thing, your first love that you have. And when you put that much into a slingshot or a gym or your lifting career, that same intensity and that same creativity will most likely never be matched again.
Right. That's a perfect segue, because what I wanted to ask you next was talk about, what you're known for. The Slingshot, Power Magazine, the podcast, Super Training, the gym. How did all of that come about? Where did it start?
What I'm known for, it kind of depends on who you ask. I think if I'm good at anything, it's recognizing that I can't be great at everything, and it's recognizing that if I want to advance, then I'm going to need help. Like, I got this guy right here helping me right now.
How you doing?
What's up?
What's up, man?
So I pretty much always have somebody by my side helping me, whether it's my kids, my wife, Jim McD, Andrew over here, Chris Griffin, who also works for us with videos. Andrew does a lot of photography and videos for us. It takes an army of people to help you execute things. And I think from day one, this is something my mother pointed out to me, which is kind of like weird backhanded compliment in some way. But she said, if you're really good or gifted at anything, it's realizing where you struggle, and so I recognize that I'm not great at detail, and so I pass that off to other people, and that has really helped me to advance in a lot of these different markets, I guess you'd say. But if you ask one person on the street, I mean, your average person probably not going to know me, but the people that do know who I am, some may say, "Oh, he's an inventor." Somebody else might say, "Oh, that's the dude from Bigger, Stronger, Faster." Somebody else might say, "Oh, that's the powerlifter," or different people are going to know me different ways. And so to me, that's a lot of fun to have people know me in these different ways. I think one of the better compliments I've ever gotten was when somebody recognized me just as an inventor, because I do have 2 patents on the Slingshot product, and for me that's really gratifying because it's just something different. I'm unaware of other powerlifters that have patents and that have created inventions and have pushed the business to where they have. Some people, I'm a business owner, and so it really just depends on who you ask. How I'll be remembered will be up to each individual. It's not anything I really have control over. I can just try to be as positive as I can and spread as much. It doesn't cost me anything to spread love and positivity around. It really doesn't. And that's something I try to share with people, and not in like a weird rah-rah way, because like some of that can get old really quick, but just in a more genuine way. Like, what the fuck, man? What does it cost you to hold the door open for a woman and smile at her in the morning? Or what does it cost you to say good morning to somebody when you're passing by? Like, you got to understand who you are and the look that you have and the way that you are portrayed. You know, if I'm walking down the street and I'm in power project mode like this, you know, some people know me as being goofy, but other people might be like, that dude's pretty big. And I'll just say, hey, man, what's up? How you doing? Good morning. You know, like, it doesn't cost me anything to not be an asshole. And what I'm trying to share with a lot of people is, you know, there's a lot of different ways of working towards being great. On a side note from that is, I think that each person should define what they feel is greatness, and they should define what they feel is success for them, because it's different for everybody. There's really no such thing as being great. It's made up. It's artificial. It's made up by other people, and it's not really based in reality. And so you should try to think of like what the fuck that means to you. But you know, one of the greatest ways you can have an impact on the world, and this is a quote from Mother Teresa, but she says, the greatest way to have an impact on the world is to go home and love your family, which is way different than what most people would think. Most people would think being great is being like The Rock and hopping on a jet. And dude, The Rock has the same fucking problems as the rest of us.
Right.
He can't create any more time to be with his family. He has an infant, you know, he's got a little baby, right? He can't create more time. He has a lot of money. He's got a lot of great resources. He's just one example. President Trump, so on. Like, all these people, their life is great.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But a lot of things are complicated for them. They have a lot of obligations. They have a lot of things to get after, and the wealth and things like that can provide convenience. But it's still, you still have to find a way to be a good person, and being a good person isn't hard. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take any great skill. There's no genetic. I mean, maybe there is. I mean, maybe it hasn't been researched, but genetics aren't going to help you show up on time somewhere. You know, genetics aren't going to help you to be thoughtful. Right. Genetics aren't going to help you to send a text message to a buddy when you know he's not doing well, to say, hey, or to call him, right. Dude, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. No, dude, fucking what's up? Like, how you doing? Don't be a dick. Tell me what's going on. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost you anything to be that person. And so that's what I'm trying to share with people. You know, as you get older, and I'm not that old, but you start to think of these things differently, and you get some wisdom as you gain more experience. You know, when I'm 40 now, and when I'm 70, I can't imagine. I look forward to like those days. I can't imagine how much wisdom I'll be spitting out at that age.
Right. All I hear from my clients that I train, my buddy and I were just talking about this before, as we were like, yeah, you know, I'm like almost 30, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, your 30s, 40s, your best time of your life. They're like, your 20s sucks. You're figuring shit out.
Uh-huh. And that's a lot of the people that I talk to. There's probably a lot of people that listen to this podcast. A lot of the people that show up to seminars, a lot of people that listen to my podcast, a lot of the people that I just meet in the street, and a lot of people that follow my YouTube channel. They're all, and you know what? Look, it's perfectly fine to be fucking lost. It is. It's fine. We've
all been there, you know. I think everyone's been there at some point or another, for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, everyone has been lost. Everyone has been unhappy. Everyone has been sad, mad, and everything in between that. And your age doesn't necessarily matter. However, you know, there is kind of a time to grow up and be an adult and to make better choices, right? But like, you know, if you're listening to this right now and you're 35 and you're like, fuck, man, I don't make the money I want. I'm not but hold on a second, fucking take a deep breath of air, because none of that really matters that much. What matters is, A, are you being a good person and not being an asshole, which isn't hard to do, and fucking B, what are you doing? What are you doing to work towards your goals? Set some fucking goals, and then make sure that your life matches up to some of those goals. That's not that hard either. It really isn't.
Right.
And when you talk about, your goals have to be realistic too. Set some stuff up that's a low-hanging fruit that you can feel good about. Let's just say, for example, that you start a YouTube channel and you're like, oh man, I got to make a video. Or be realistic with how many videos you can make. You want to start a podcast like you've done. Don't put pressure on yourself to do a podcast every day out of the gate. Fucking give yourself some time, right? Give yourself some.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do a podcast every other week.
Right.
Power Magazine is something that is every other month, and it happened to stay that way because I'm too fucking busy to pump out a magazine every single month. It takes an enormous amount of effort to get that fucking thing going, and so you have to be realistic with your goals, but your goals have to match up with what you're doing in your everyday life. And if you can, stop yourself for a second when you're about to make a bad decision and think to yourself, how is this going to help me? Share your goals with your friends so that they say, hey, asshole, you're not fucking following through. You just told me fucking 10 minutes ago you want to stop smoking. Now you're fucking smoking a cigarette again. Or you just told me you want to stop drinking. You just told me you want to eat better. And what the fuck? You're eating Ben and Jerry's. Like sometimes a break from stuff is important. Sometimes, sometimes going out and having some drinks and things like that is great. It's a great time. I'm not saying you got to live your life by some code fucking 24/7 and that you have to be a saint. But at the same time, set some goals. And if you have spots that you want to be in that you're not currently in, then for you personally, it might take a much greater effort than the guy next to you.
Right. When you were at that seminar, you spoke of when you were at Zach Evanesh's gym. How many years ago was that you did that seminar? This is a great story. I think everyone needs to hear. That's why.
Yeah, probably 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah, I think so.
6 or 7 years ago. You're how old at the time? 33, 34?
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. And, I just kind of started doing some seminars with Jesse Burdick at the time, my bestie friend in the whole wide world. And unfortunately, right around that time, his brother died, and it just was fucking brutal. His brother was very similar to my brother. And anyway, a lot more into that. But when Zach called me, he started talking to me. He's like, man, I'm really working hard. Zach Evanesh is one of the harder working people I've ever met in my life.
He's awesome, man. He's awesome.
Got the hustle. He's got the hustle game down like there's no tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, when he was approaching me about this seminar, I was like, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. I know Zach will get a lot of people there and it'll be really cool. So Zach calls me up and he's like, man, it's like a month later, and he's like, I'm really trying to get people here and it's just not working. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I'm like, okay, how many people you got? 20, and
yeah.
He's like, no, man. He's like, I got like 5. And I was like, shit, like, that sucks. And he goes, what do you want to do? I was like, what do you mean what I want to do? He's like, well, obviously we'll just cancel it, right? Give people their money back or whatever. It was like $100, $150 at the time to do the seminar. We were doing other seminars at the time. I think we just kind of started doing some stuff with CrossFit at the time, these powerlifting certification seminars. And so because people had to pay for those, it didn't make sense to do free seminars then because we didn't want it to be unfair to some of the other people that were paying for these other seminars. Anyway, we went to go do this seminar, and Zach's calling me back and forth, being upfront with me about that there's not going to be anybody there really. And I said, dude, like I made a commitment to come out there. Like I booked a ticket and I booked a hotel, and so did Jesse, and we are on our way. Like I don't care. If there's only a handful of people there, then that's okay. We'll teach those people how to lift, and we'll kind of go from there. And at that point, for me, I wasn't who I am in other people's eyes, but I was still the same fucking person. But I knew that I needed to learn. And I knew that I needed to experiment, and I knew that I needed to get out there in the world and to be heard and to be seen. And so I'm like, you know what? It doesn't really matter. It's opportunity. We're going to film some of it anyway. And I think Zach used some of it on his YouTube channel. You can look some of it up. It's still there. And we shot it kind of a specific way so you can't tell that there's nobody there. So that was just a learning experience. And it also made me realize that seminars aren't really worth charging for in a lot of ways, and that even though people get a lot out of them, the lesson that was learned from me was it didn't matter who was there, who got the most out of the seminar. Me.
Right.
And so that's still the case. Even though the seminars are free and a fuckload of people show up to them now, no one gets more out of the seminars than I do. So the joke's kind of on everybody else when I say the seminar's free, because I get a lot out of it. I'm not talking about people going on howmuchyoubench.net and ordering a Slingshot or anything like that, although that does happen. I never sell anything at a seminar. My YouTube's not monetized. I mean, that's not what a lot of the stuff is about. And in the grand scheme of things, that is what everything's about. Everything's always about money. Everything's always about sales. I am trying to sell more shit. I'll be transparent about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But those things will all fall into place if I'm just a good person, if I'm just fucking cool to people, and if my company continues to kick ass. I opened up Muscle and Fitness this month, and I'm thumbing through it, and I see John Cena wearing the strong sleeves. I've been friends with John Cena for years. He's always been a prick about wearing the strong sleeves because he likes Ray-Ban, right? But I knew that if I sent them to him, I knew if he tried them on, I knew over a period of time that my product is really good. My product is better than what Ray-Ban has. And so when he went to squatting them one time, he hit a big PR. He squatted like 650 in a pair of knee sleeves, or 635 or something like that. So the proof is in the pudding. If you make a good product and you're a good person, people will wear your shit. Right. Sometimes even all the way to the point where if they don't like you, they're going to just wear it anyway. And in John's case, it helps him lift more. It's John's favorite passion in the whole world. He does love wrestling, but his favorite passion in the whole world is to lift weights. And so when Muscle and Fitness came to do a shoot of him, you better believe he's wearing the fucking strong sleeves to lift as much as he possibly can to make that video shoot look as good as possible.
Right. I actually had the privilege of meeting John Cena my senior year of college. I went to Springfield College, his alma mater, and he was there just hanging out in one of the townhouses. At Springfield, we have a row of 20 townhouses, all the seniors living in. There's 8 people in each, backyards, the whole deal. He's just chilling in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Drinking a Pabst Blue Ribbon, nicest guy in the world, shook my hand. I had a powerlifting meet. I'll never forget this. I had a powerlifting meet the next day. Right. My roommates were having a party, and I was like trying to get out of the house so I could go sleep somewhere else to finally get some sleep for this thing. And he took time to, talk about deadlifting. He put his beer down. He was talking to us. He was just such a cool dude. He came and lifts with the football team every once in a while. And we're a Division III school, 3,000 kids. Yeah. Like we're not Florida. We're not Alabama. It's just he's a good dude. So like you said, you being a good person, him being a good person, there's obviously going to be a connection. He's going to support you there,
Exactly, 100%. What year was that?
My senior year, 2010.
Okay. So he was already John Cena.
Yeah, we used to always hear stories. My old exercise physiology professor used to tell us this story about this crazy kid who used to come to class in a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops even when it was snowing. And he's like, you know who that was? And we were like, no. And he's like, John Cena. And we were like, oh, shit, that's cool. Had no idea.
In wrestling, we kind of call that like living the gimmick, basically, and it kind of refers to a way of like standing out. And John's not going to like go out of his way to like figure out a way to stand out. He just kind of is that personality. He is that way. But taking something so simple of your attire and having it be different than everybody else's, and when it's freezing out to fucking wear flip flops. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the stories of him eating, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, his eating is legendary, and it's like the guy kind of makes you think that he does it every single time he eats, but obviously he doesn't because he's in such good shape. But he's got everybody fooled because it's part of his like gimmick that he goes out and smashes pizza and shit like that. And people are like, what the fuck? How is he built like that?
I know, he looks unreal. He really does.
Jacked and tan.
So where do you think the fitness industry's headed? Where do you think it's going?
The fitness industry is always really, really, really super duper far behind the times. And so what's going to happen is CrossFit over a period of time is going to get chewed up and not necessarily be CrossFit as we know it now. I think they're a big company. They have a lot of money, so they will not go away. They will still be around. I don't know how long that'll last, but the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see every gym across the country have CrossFit-ish stuff in their facility, and you're also going to see these facilities look a little bit more like college campus facilities for football teams. So, quote-unquote, functional fitness, which is, because it's just ridiculous how long it takes people to catch on to these things, right? Like, yeah. But it's just the way it is. I mean, how long ago was Dr. Atkins talking about ketosis and fucking Dan Duchesne with the Body Opus book? I mean, I did ketosis. The first time I ever did ketosis was like 1994. It's like a lot of these principles have been around, and then one of the most searched and Googled words of last year is ketosis. So
really?
It gives an idea. Yeah, like people are way the fuck behind, and so these trends and these things that trickle down from bodybuilding or trickle down from here or there. I mean, things like this is weird, but like things like a rear view mirror or some of the safety features that you have in your car, they trickle down from like NASCAR. And it takes the world 20 years or so to catch on to, hey, like that's actually a pretty good feature. I wonder if we had that in a regular car, how that would work. It's like, oh yeah, a fucking mirror, yeah, that'd probably be a good idea, So there's all kinds of examples of this everywhere, but it takes any industry a really long time to catch on, and a lot of it has to do with it just takes a lot of capital. What's the advantage of 24-hour fitness having CrossFit inside of it? Nothing if they can't promote it, right? So they have to put money into getting different equipment, and then they have to figure out how much is it going to cost us to promote this, and also you can't please everybody. So is this going to piss off more people than it's going to help? Or does this actually make some sense? And I think that if they were smart, that a lot of this stuff would come internally so that they can have some strong footing. So Jason Khalipa, a good friend of mine, I had him on my podcast yesterday. He pointed out that the key to something like that, the execution of something like that, would be having good coaches internally. And so you wouldn't be able to turn the keys over to your average personal trainer. You'd have to turn some of that over to some people that really were passionate about strength training. But it could potentially be a big deal. So I think the fitness industry, you're going to see more and more things moving in that direction. And I think you're also going to see a trend of bodybuilding stuff coming back a little bit. Not traditional bodybuilding necessarily, but people doing bodybuilding movements. And the reason is that bodybuilding has never stopped working. Bodybuilding's great. Yeah. Building your arms up bigger, building your chest up bigger, using the fucking pec deck, using the preacher curl bicep machine. I mean, all these things are great. There's not one thing wrong with any of those machines. They're good products, and there's a lot of guys right now training in commercial gyms that are building up tremendous amounts of strength. And so hopefully those commercial gyms get a nice mix of, some of the functional strength stuff of just, I hate even using the word functional because there's no such thing as, in my opinion, as a non-functional movement. Right. And if there is, someone can show it to me and I'll tell them differently. But anyway, I think that's where you're going to see most of the shift happening.
Awesome. I agree with you on that for sure. You're definitely seeing more commercial gyms. They got more kettlebells. They got things for like turf for farmers carries and prowlers and things like that. The gym I work at, commercial gym in Connecticut, huge kettlebells. We have all Rogue stuff, Elite FTS racks. It's like Ridgefield, Connecticut. It's a little town, with all this cool ass gear. So,
very.
One of the things we wanted to ask you as well is what would be like 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give your younger self, whether it be strength training, business, life, whatever it may be?
just try to really value the people that are around you, because I think at a young age that's such a hard thing to embrace.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm really proud of my children. I mean, they're still young. My daughter Quinn is 9. My son Jake is 13. And it's clear that they value their grandparents, and it's clear that they value my wife and I, and I admire that in them a lot. And hopefully that's something that continues. I know things are going to get a little weirder as they get a little older, but hopefully that continues. But that would be kind of the main thing, because I have had perfect parenting, and I have had really, really great parents around me, and just great people around me in general. And so I always had enough love and always had enough self-worth to not give a fuck about somebody telling me I wasn't good at math. Like, of course those things made me feel bad, but I just found another identity. Like, fuck, all right, well, fuck, I'm not cool. Whatever, I'm not smart. I get it. It doesn't matter, And school beat me up for a really long time, and it, obviously, it hurts your feelings and all kinds of things when you're not good at something. Right. Trouble reading, trouble writing, just all kinds of problems. But those things never really crushed me or broke me, because I had parents that were into every single thing that I did. They backed up everything that I did, and they were always supportive of everything. And they never, when I wanted to be a pro football player, they weren't like, well, you're white and you're not that tall. And they never said anything like that. They let me dream it. And, at a young age, I guess maybe I didn't really realize all the steps involved with everything. I mean, when I played football, I did try my hardest. I did lift weights. I tried to eat better. I tried to do as many different things as I could. But then there's a genetic component to it as well. I mean, you can either play football or you can't. And there's some different factors in there. But I guess maybe as a kid, I didn't really understand how much hard work was going to go into all these different things that I'm doing. If I'd have advice to give to a young kid, like even just other than my young self, it would be to just understand the fact that everything takes time. That guy that you admire so much that's lifting all those weights, or the guy that you admire so much that's so good at basketball, or whatever the case is, or the guy you admire on TV who speaks his mind, or podcasts, or whatever, whoever it is that you're admiring, you can be similar to that person. It's just going to take you some time, and it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. I think when people are raising their children, they'll go to a baseball game, and it could be the most reserved parent you've ever met in your life. It could be somebody who's really just quiet and bashful, and but because they're an adult, they do speak their mind a little bit here and there. Then they watch their kid play baseball, and they're like, I don't know why my fucking kid's not even in the batter's box. It's like, well, dude, it's because your kid is a lot like you were. It's because he's fucking 9 years old, and some asshole on the mound is fucking throwing the ball like a maniac. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't be in the fucking batter's box either.
Right.
But I think people don't always realize, like, maybe your child doesn't want to be like you. It's highly possible. Maybe they want to be the exact opposite of you. Maybe what you do is intimidating to them in some ways, and maybe they want to find their own route, find their own path. For me, that's a little bit hard, because what I do is so like out there, and it's everywhere. And so I try to make my kids feel the best they can about the things that they're doing. I try not to over glorify whatever this is, like this is really nothing. It really isn't. My wife is a stronger and better person than I am. And if I can, my dad too, I'm around some really fucking awesome people. They're not on the internet yapping their mouth all day the way I am. So I get more credit, but that would be the main thing, is just, just for people in general listening to this, things don't have to happen tomorrow, but you do need to take steps towards your goals, and you need to start doing it now. And there's no better time than now. There's no reason to wait. You have to start your journey one step at a time. I would tell people, take small steps, but dream big. If you keep taking small steps towards your goal, there's going to be some point where you're going to have to jump off. Maybe some point you're going to have to do a giant leap. You can think about it like Mario Brothers. There's all those jumps you got to do in Mario Brothers, and you got to hit the mushroom and big and jacked. Every once in a while, you got to sprint full speed and fucking strategically make that huge jump over, right? To get to the other side. Life is the same way, but if you keep taking small steps, you can see the fucking thing that you're about to make a leap out onto.
I feel you. I got 2 more questions for you, but I have to turn on the light in here because it just got super dark. Hold on a sec.
Yeah, what happened?
It's just dark on the East Coast.
Lights went out.
All right, back.
Strength student podcast, student strength podcast. What are we doing?
Strength student podcast.
Strength student podcast. There we go.
That's right. So one of the questions we got is, what would be your advice to, what have you learned about getting stronger? Like straight up just gym talk. What have you learned about getting stronger? What is your biggest thing you focus on?
Just slowing down. Take the time to learn how to execute the movements. At the same time, don't be a pussy. Lift it perfectly or lift it whatever way you can. But literally just, slow yourself down and really make sure that you're lifting the weight the right way. The deadlift is probably the best example of this. What's your best deadlift?
Ever in my life, I pulled 475, I think, in college.
Okay, so if I asked you to pull 455 tomorrow, it'd probably take a fucking great effort, right? And you'd probably just get, you'd probably be like, all right, Mark Bell's here. I'm going to fucking get fired up, put on your favorite song, and you're going to run around the gym like an idiot and do smelling salts and everything else, as much chalk as you possibly can. You're going to get as excited as you can.
Right. And
you're just going to literally wing it, and you're just going to rip on that bar with everything that you got. It's not the right way to lift. It's not the right way to lift really ever, Right. There's going to be some cases where you do want to kind of just go for it, but if you would take your time and learn how to do the lift properly, a lot of times people are only doing a half deadlift. They're not doing the other part of the deadlift. Part of the deadlift, there's part of the deadlift training is to lower the bar under control as well. That's actually in the rule book. You got to follow the bar down under control. And to me, it only makes sense to not be reckless with that portion of the lift. But I see so many people, they'll get to the top of the lift, and then when they go to come down, they get to this angle where their back really can't really handle that angle anymore, and they go whoosh, and they hit the ground with the weights really hard, and it's kind of a loud crash. I'm totally guilty of it sometimes myself. But that would be the main thing in strength in general, is just to slow the fuck down. Try to take some of the movements that you're doing and try to slow down a little bit with them, and you're going to find out how hard these exercises really are. When you go to do a squat, you see people squat. They kind of squat the same way they'll do their deadlift. They'll squat, and then they'll get towards the bottom of the squat, and they'll go whoosh, and they come flying out of the bottom. Now, that's not necessarily a wrong way to squat, but for training purposes and for the purposes of just getting stronger and for the purposes of making the training harder than the contest itself, just slow the fuck down a little bit. Move a little slower on that movement. Control the movement a little bit more. How is it going to hurt you? It's going to help you. The principle of underloading is something that I wrote about years ago. And underloading basically refers to taking a movement and making the movement in some way, making the movement a little bit harder. So how do we make a squat harder? Well, rather than do 1 rep, let's do 8. Rather than doing 1 rep, let's do 3 reps that are really slow. 6 seconds on the way down, pause at the bottom, and whatever on the way up, because you're going to die anyway. Not that all your training needs to be that way, but most of your training should be done very clean. Most of your training should be done under 90%. And occasionally you're going to have to go for those big weights. Occasionally you're going to have to figure out ways to overload your body and get some stimulus. But it doesn't have to happen all the time. And also, why not do it in a little bit of a fatigued state? So let's say that your workout calls for you to do 3 sets of 8 on a deadlift for the day. Well, if you're going to do 3 sets of 8, like at your strength level, 3 sets of 8 might mean that you use 295, right? Something that's very manageable. You're going to be able to do the lift the right way. 3 sets of 8 at 295. Well, what's wrong with taking a couple singles afterwards, just to kind of not to go all out or anything, but just to feel some weight? You got 295. All right, I'm going to take 315 for a single. I'm going to take 335 for a single, and I'll finish with 365 or something like that, just to get some more stimulus. So there's a lot of different ways of doing all this stuff. It's not really as complicated as everybody wants to make it out to be. You go in there, you go in the gym, you find something that you enjoy, and you stick it out for a period of time. You get into it and you get out of it. Because if you stay in there for too long, that's one mistake I'm seeing a lot of people make right now. They're doing 8 sets of 8 and 5 sets of 8 and 6 sets of 8 and 6 sets of 6 and so on. And it's like, fuck, man, that's cool, but that's a lot of work, especially for somebody who's fairly new, especially for somebody maybe's only been doing it for a year or two. How about you do just do a couple sets, light, medium, heavy. Maybe if the heavy set feels good, maybe you do an extra set or two of it, but you don't need to sit there grinding it out for 10 sets. I do believe over time that you can work your way towards that. And I think that a lot of the athletes that have been doing it for a while, they can work their way towards more volume, more training stimulus through many different aspects of it, whether it's the intensity, the amount of weight on the bar, or the frequency. I mean, there's a fucking million ways of doing it all. But if your frequency is high, then you can have the weights be a little bit lighter, and you can also get in and out of those exercises a little quicker, because there's a lot of supplemental exercises, assistance movements to get to as well.
I feel, that's one of the things I noticed at the seminar at the Arnold. So everyone was, hey, I have a problem in my sumo deadlift. I have a problem with my squat, my this, my that. And your protocol, basically, I would say, was like, all right, slow down and control yourself on the way down.
Yeah.
And everyone's squat and deadlift looked better because they took the time to lower the bar, under control. So I think that is a huge, huge factor that people kind of ignore. They're just trying. I know when I was in high school, our high school coaches used to tell us for football that with bench press, just break your sternum, bounce it off your chest.
Yeah.
Would that be a good cue, would you think, Mark?
Yeah. Well, I have done that before. I ended up in the hospital that way. I don't know, people make all this out to be so difficult, and it's really just not that hard. It can get complicated. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I've been doing it for so long, but when I bring those people up to squat or deadlift, I already know. I do. I already know how it's going to look. I already know how it's going to play out. Right. They don't have to even say anything to me. I can mimic what they're doing before they ever do it. And, with one person in particular in that seminar setting, moving that bar up their back a little bit helped push them in a lot better position on their squat.
I remember that kid. Yeah, that was, yeah.
And it's like, people think it's magic, or they think I'm like a wizard or something, and I put some pixies, which I don't have a problem admitting that I am good at what I do. I've been doing it for a long time, so I don't have a problem saying that. But it's just because I've seen a lot of people, and it's also because as a coach, it's your job to fucking put your ego to the side and forget everything that you know. Like literally, just forget everything you know. Just know that it's a possibility that when you see that person lift, they might do something you've never seen before. Right. And also understand it's a possibility the information that you give them may be completely false. They may be completely wrong. Like, you have to understand that. So I'll tell someone, I'll say, hey, why don't you point your toes out? And then I'll watch them lift, and I'll go, oh, shit, that wasn't right. All right, well, move your – fuck, man, I don't want to go against what I just said, but, okay, point your feet straighter. All right, that's starting to look better. Okay, let's widen your stance. Okay, fuck, man, now the guy looks like shit again. All right, well, running out of ideas here. How about let's try a closer stance. Fuck, okay, that didn't work either. You have to understand that some of the shit you're going to tell people isn't always going to work. And so you have to be willing to try to some different things. Okay, there is one thing that we didn't do. Let's have you take your thumb off the bar, because the way your hand is going to be the way that your elbow is going to be the way that your upper back is, and the way that your chest is. So if you pull your thumb off the bar, let's even get your elbow underneath you a little bit more, so you squat a little bit more upright, and let's see if we can lower the bar, right? They try it. You go, oh, shit. Okay, one more time. Let's have you raise the bar back up a little higher than normal. Let's have this stance and let's have this grip. And then sure enough, it looks like magic that you just performed, because at the seminar, that guy in particular, he was squatting 3 or 4 inches above parallel. And then we took him an inch and a half below parallel in just a couple seconds. And things like that have happened at my gym many times, where we take someone through a lift, say, hey, here's how we do it. And they increase their bench by 20 pounds, 30 pounds. It's never an insane, it's never like a 100-pound increase or nothing, but it's going to be an increase on somebody that's already been trying to do the lift what they thought was the right way for a long time.
Yeah. And that's, that's kind of why we started this podcast. We wanted to go around and learn from as many people as possible. Like I have an exercise science degree from a great school, but like I didn't really learn anything until I graduated and I actually started training people. Like the tests are cool. I know all the science, but now it's like, all right, here's 40 kids. Here's a football team that all have different. This kid sucks at squatting. This kid's good at deadlifting. This kid has no idea how to move. Freshman, senior, sophomore. Now how do you program for that? And you need to learn. One of my favorite quotes is from a guy in our industry. His name's Mike Boyle. I don't know if you ever heard of him, strength coach.
I know who he is.
So one of the things he said is like, it's okay to be the dumbest person in the room or not be the smartest person in the room, but don't remain the dumbest person in the room. Ask questions, learn. That's why I go to seminar, everything you can to learn. There's some cues you gave that I never even thought of. Like what you just said now about the thumb. I'm not looking at the thumb. I'm thinking, oh, they have bad hip mobility or something like that. That's something I never would have thought about. But you got most more years in the game.
And most of the problems in the squat come from the upper body, not the lower body. Because who do you know? I mean, try this out. Who do you know that can't do a squat with a 25-pound plate out in front of them? You're not gonna find a lot of people. You're gonna find some 87-year-old grandma that can't do that. But like almost anybody else can push a 25-pound plate out in front of them as they're going downward in a squat and get their hips below parallel.
That's also one of Boyle has it in his certification. That's one of his. You start with a goblet squat or assisted front squat. Like that's what you do. You load them from the front so they have a counterbalance. So I get where you're coming from.
100%. I used to use my son when he was a baby. I used to use him as a counterbalance to get up off the couch. I'd push him away from me, and I'd be able to get up off the couch a lot easier. Can't
do that now, though.
No, he's probably $150. So no, it's not gonna work now.
Is he tall?
He's crazy tall. He's crazy tall. Yeah, he's the same height as me basically at this point.
How old is he? He's the same height.
13. Yeah, he's 13.
Same height as you.
You're gonna kick my ass and be like, Dad, get the fuck out. Out of my own house.
So what's next for you, man? You've accomplished a lot, but like you said, you're not done. You're a motivational guy. You're a determined person. What's next for Mark Bell?
My son told me that I'm done. He said everything like he and I were in the hot tub last night and we're just looking up and the sun was really bright and I said, I said, it's so bright, I could see your future or something. And he goes, your future is in the past. He's like, everything that has happened for you has already happened. Because he likes to make fun of me all the time. And then I sat there and thought about it for a minute. And I was like, that little fucker's probably right. So I got no next, man. I'm just gonna take things day by day and just keep working, keep trying to make the world a better place to lift. And I do that through videos. I'm being videoed right now. So I'm getting videoed over here. Through videos, through fucking Instagram, through social media. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go check it out. youtube.com/supertraining06. And, you'll see all the shit that we're doing next on there. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. March 28th is the launch of kind of actually really exciting time. It's a launch of an apparel line that is going to be an actual apparel line. So we haven't really dabbled in that too much. We do make some clothes. We make some shirts. But there's a big difference between making a couple shirts and making a couple hats versus having an actual line that's organized and everything like that. We hired Charlie Zamora, hired him away from Caffeine and Kilos. Sorry, Danny and Dean. You're still my boys. We're still homies. but I got to do what I got to do to keep making sure that this company advances in the right direction. We're also looking to hire some more media guys. We got 2 now. This one's kind of worthless, so we need someone else to pick up the pace.
That's what I've heard.
We have, you heard a lot of bad things about Andrew already. Yeah, we got two guys now are doing a fucking awesome job, and kind of looking for 2 other guys to work with them and to help enhance the media, because this is about 50% products and about 50% media. It's actually probably really not that way. It's actually probably more like 80% media, because new products come out, a couple times a year. New media comes out every fucking day, basically. So that's about it. I got a trip to New York coming up with the wife and kids, and that'll be a really fun vacation, but I need to figure out a way to actually have a vacation. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to figure out for that, but it's possible that I figure out a way to leave my phone behind or something. I don't know. We'll see what I can do. I do know I have one day scheduled where I'll meet up with Joe DeFranco, because I've never met him before. Hit up a podcast with him would be kind of cool. And spending a week in NYC with the wife and kids. I'm super excited for it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today, man. I just wanted to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We got it done.
Best podcast you ever did. I already know it.
Goddamn right. We'll let you know how the downloads go. We'll see if you win. I think you might. But if you ever find yourself in Connecticut, I don't know why.
You really close squeaker between me and John Gaglione. You know John? You know Big John?
I do. I heard him on your podcast. I've seen him I was at a meet at Hofstra, my best friend was lifting at, and I saw him walking around, and I never got the chance to say
Waddling.
hi.
Waddling around.
Yeah. I won't say anything because I don't know him, but
he's a big boy. Nah, he's my friend anyway. He's a good dude. You should get to know him. He's a cool guy.
Absolutely, yeah. We're trying to know everyone in this area, and of course try to go after guys like you as well.
Cool.
But if you ever find yourself in Connecticut, and we would love to come out to Super Training at one point, I would, that's the place I want to go. That's to me, or to a lot of people, that's the new Mecca. You know what I'm saying? So
I've been to the Danbury Mall many times.
Have you?
Back in the day. It probably doesn't even exist anymore, right?
Oh, it's there. It's huge.
It's still there, yeah.
Oh, it's still there, man. I work in Ridgefield, the next town over. It's still there.
No taxes. At least when I was there was no taxes.
I think there might be now, but
no taxes and gay marriage. I'll meet you there.
Meet me in the food court at Annie's
That's
Pretzels.
Right.
right near the Ferris wheel. I'll have a rose in my hair. It'll be perfect.
Me too.
What hair? What do you mean?
Yeah, I know.
It's all right, dude.
All right, my man. Sounds great.
Mine's going too. All right, brother. Just want to say thank you, and that's it for the Strength Students Podcast, man. We'll be in touch, all right?
Peace.
Later
on, man.
Want more of the Strength Squad? You can check out all of our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Also, check us out on YouTube, where you can watch all of your favorite Strength Squad videos. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on iTunes and Stitcher.
Stitcher, I just met her.